Fingerprint tests found matches throughout the house for Mr. Duffy, Mrs. Duffy, and their housekeeper, but this was to be expected. No other matches were found on doorknobs, windows, phones, drawers, the jewelry case, or the antique mahogany box where Mr. Duffy kept his expensive watches. This meant one of two things. One, the thief or murderer wore gloves or carefully wiped away any prints. Or two, the thief-murderer was either Mr. Duffy or the housekeeper. The housekeeper was not at work on the day of the murder. She was out of town with her husband. Whoever took the jewelry, guns, and watches had also yanked open several other cabinets and drawers and flung items onto the floor. Detective Crone, who was pretty dull to listen to, methodically went through the photo after photo of the mess left behind by the thief-murderer. For the first time, the trial began to drag. Mr. Mount noticed a few of the boys starting to fidget. A couple of the jurors looked sleepy. At precisely 3 p.m., Judge Gantry banged his gavel and announced a 15-minute recess. The courtroom emptied quickly. Everyone needed a break. Theo and his friends left the courthouse, boarded a small yellow bus, and 10 minutes later were back at school in time for dismissal. 30 minutes after he left, Theo was back in the courthouse. He sprinted up the stairs to the third floor. There was no sign of the Finnemore War, no lawyers in the hallway, no sign of April. She had not called or answered his emails the night before, nor had she posted anything on her Facebook page. Her parents would not allow her to have a cell phone, so she could not text. This was not that unusual. About half of 8th graders at the middle school did not have cell phones. Theo hurried down to the second floor, entered the courtroom under the suspicious gaze of Deputy Gossett, and found a seat on the third row behind the defense table. The defendant, Mr. Duffy, sat less than 20 feet away. Theo could hear his lawyers as they whispered important things. Omar Cheap was still there. He noticed Theo when he sat down. As an experienced observer, Omar had the ability to see all movements, but he did it casually as if he really didn't care. The witness was a doctor, the medical examiner, who performed the autopsy on the victim. He was using a large color diagram of a human body from the chest up, with emphasis on the neck area. Theo paid more attention to Clifford Nance than to the witness. He watched Mr. Nance as he listened intently to the testimony and took notes, and continually glanced at the jury. He seemed to miss nothing in the courtroom. He was relaxed and confident, though ready to attack if necessary. His cross-examination of the doctor was quick and revealed nothing new. So far, Mr. Nance seemed content to agree with most of the prosecution's witnesses. The fireworks would come later. Judge Gantry adjourned the court just after 5 p.m. Before he excused the jurors, he again warned them against discussing the case with anyone. After they filed out, the courtroom emptied. Theo hung around, watching the lawyers gather their files and books as they repacked their thick briefcases and talked in hushed tones. There were words across the aisle. Jack Hogan said something to Clifford Nance, and both men laughed. The other, lesser lawyers joined in, and someone said, "How about a drink?" Enemies one moment, old pals the next. Theo had seen it before. His mother had tried to explain that lawyers are paid to do a job, and to do it properly, they had to park their personal feelings at the door. The real professionals, she said, never lose their cool and carry grudges. Ike said that was nonsense. He despised most of the lawyers in town. Omar Cheap was not laughing, and he was not invited to have a drink with the enemy. He and Pete Duffy made a quick exit through the side door.